Hello there, everyone. This is Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist, and welcome to the Mad Science Lab podcast. Today, we are continuing with the My Thoughts series, and here to break down the Indianapolis Colts is one half of the mock draft tag team champions, one half of the new age alpha dogs, Matty fucking Kiwoom. Matty, how's it going? Thanks for being here.
Oh, dude, thank you for having me on. I'm very excited to talk about Indianapolis Colts today, baby.
Why is your title belt upside down?
Well, see, I actually had it upside down at first because it was the WWE. Then Cody says, turn it upside down, and it's actually the Mock Draft Mania Champions, baby.
Fucking hell.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
all righty. Yep, I guess we'll go with that. That works. I looked at him like, I know I've been doing this all day and my eyes are going, but that belt's upside down. Yeah, all right, we're good. We're good. All right.
We're good to go.
Let's get into it. We got us some Indianapolis Colts.
Ooh. Yes,
Quarterback
sir.
room looks like rookie Anthony Richardson taken 4th overall, and backup Gardner Minshew and that mullet of doom. This should be Richardson's show here. You think he starts from week 1, or are they going to ruin half a season of his rookie year and start fucking Minshew? What are your thoughts?
No, I think he's a day one starter. I think that they took him 4th overall, and I got to give them so much credit. Chris Ballard, the whole team, they played it so close to the chest. The entire process, we all thought it was a shoo-in. Will Levis to the Colts at 4, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But then come draft night, they revealed that Anthony Richardson was the guy the entire time. You know, they'll probably slow play it. Gardner Minshew is a pro. He'll handle it with class. They'll probably give him first team reps this summer. But when the push comes to shove, this kid's too tantalizing. He's so athletic. Even if he's a little bit behind in terms of the passing curve, his athleticism and his legs will get him going. I think he's the day one starter come kickoff.
I like this landing spot for him. Of the top 3 landing spots that went, the one I wanted to avoid was Houston. Shitty offense, shitty team. Not only a rookie head coach, but a rookie head coach who was on the defensive side of the ball. I've got an article I published a while back, and that was one of the combinations that just pretty much fucking killed your rookie season for fantasy. So
yeah,
Carolina, I like that situation a little bit better just because I'm pretty high on Frank Reich and his abilities. Yeah. But this would have been my second choice. So I definitely like him. I definitely bumped him above CJ Stroud. Is he your QB1 in both formats, Superflex and 1 QB?
Absolutely. Just what we saw alone last year with Justin Fields. Worst team in football, did not throw the ball a lick, still was able to get it done with his legs. Anthony Richardson's even more athletic. He's built like Cam Newton. He has an arm like Josh Allen. Best comparable player on player profile is Josh Allen. He's going to take some time, but his head coach, Shane Steichen, he helped mold Justin Herbert. He helped mold Jalen Hurts, and now he's got the biggest ball of clay in the NFL, and I think he's going to do wonders with him. In my opinion, this was my favorite landing spot because I love the weapons. Having Alec Pierce, having Michael Pittman, big targets, which means you don't have to be super precise with your throws out of the gate and still be effective. I think that the sky is certainly the limit with Anthony Richardson. He's by far my QB1 in all formats in terms of the rookie class.
I'm just sick of hearing the 53% completion percentage. I don't give a shit. That Florida offense was low pass volume, and when he'd throw 20, 25 times a game, and when he did throw, half of them were deep throws. Like, of course, you throw 20 throws a game and 10 of them are deep shots, you're going to have a shitty completion percentage. So I think that's being overblown significantly, and I think he's going to be a half-decent passer to go with a pretty solid rushing floor. So I like Richardson. He's my QB1 as well. Moving on here to a running back room that is Jonathan Taylor and a bunch of guys. We got Deion Jackson, Zach Moss coming over from Buffalo to ruin the passing game. I'm not sure. Newly drafted Evan Hall out of Northwestern, and Darrington Evans, who's been passed around more than we'll move on from there. What do you think of this rushing room? Sorry,
Yeah.
there was ex-wife flashbacks in there. So
Darrington Evans is the village bicycle of the NFL. Everyone has had a ride, but no one has seemed to like that Huffy. Let me tell you that right now. But
Jesus.
Evan Hull going to the Indianapolis Colts, I actually do love the landing spot. The draft capital isn't super high, but in terms of running backs, if they're not the bona fide studs, we're almost like kind of just we only can really work on their landing spots because the draft capital isn't as significant. So I like kind of what he brings as the handcuff to Jonathan Taylor, but don't make any mistakes about it. This is Jonathan Taylor's backfield. And every time we see a situation where an effective running back like a Jonathan Taylor gets teamed up with such a rushing quarterback like Anthony Richardson, the sky's the limit. I think he returns
Yeah.
back to prominence, and you're looking at a top 3 running back season as long as he stays on the field.
Yeah, just look at Baltimore. Everyone they start in the backfield has just their efficiency fucking skyrockets, and it's something
Up to
else.
yeah.
Yeah.
If Gus Bradley can be efficient with a
Yeah.
rushing quarterback, imagine what Jonathan Taylor. Alfred Morris had double-digit TDs when he had RG3. This guy, as long as Taylor can stay healthy, and I think people get a little bit of fatigue with a guy like with Jonathan Taylor, but he's 24 years old. He's still young. He still has all the capabilities in the world. So I'm loving him this season.
But the new age is all the running back by committee. So to find a legit bell cow, there's maybe 4 of them, 5 of them.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is redraft. Who are you taking, him or Bijan?
I'm taking Bijan. Bijan is probably my after McCaffrey and redraft. I'll probably go Bijan because what history is starting to tell us now at the running back position. You churn them and burn them. You go with the youth because once the injury happens, you're kind of just left on the sideline waiting. Bijan's got the 8th overall draft capital. I'm going to go with Bijan here, but again, if Jonathan Taylor falls into my lap in drafts, I'm taking him because I'm not scared of his production going into 2023.
No, absolutely. All right. We have a little bit more of an interesting wide receiver room. We've got the alleged alpha, Michael Pittman. Seemed like last year everyone was overdrafting him. He was going early second. Now in the drafts I'm seeing, he's fallen to the 6th, and I think people are overreacting because that's what we do in fantasy. They've got Alec Pierce, who also was pretty much of a disappointment last year.
Mm-hmm.
Rookie Josh Downs out of North Carolina. And we have Isaiah McKenzie coming over from Buffalo. Ashton Doolin, who I stashed everywhere because of the Podfather, never really came around, but I still have him on a few squads. And Mike Strong. What do you think of these guys?
Pittman, we're getting so much positive regression for Michael Pittman fans because, like you said, he might have been a tad overdrafted last year, but we also, coming into the year and even early on, Matt Ryan did pepper him with targets. He still, was on the field 100% of the time in terms of route participation. He ran the 3rd most routes amongst qualified wide receivers and had the 11th most targets. So he is the alpha on this team. And with a guy like Anthony Richardson, opposing defenses are going to have to game plan so heavily around the skill set of Anthony Richardson that if Michael Pittman can get single coverage, we've seen him Randy Moss fools time and time again. I really like him this year. And like you say, he's got a little bit of that built-in insulation with his ADP right now. You can get him pretty much, in some of these best ball, underdog drafts that are going right now, best ball mania, the puppy and all that stuff. You're able to take him as your wide receiver 3 or 4, depending on how your team is built. And I'm all for that because I think, again, this offense is going to take another step with a guy like Anthony Richardson. They did address the offensive line, so they were able to bolster up there. So I really do think that given the division, given the indoors capabilities of the Indianapolis Colts, I love this offense, and I do like Michael Pittman. As much as Alec Pierce, I think he is more going to be a bit of that outside decoy. So he's probably someone I'm not super excited about, and that's mainly because of them bringing in Josh Downs. They got Downs at such a value in the draft. He was a mega producer at UNC, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons to end his career with 2 different quarterbacks. That's the type of stuff you love to see. But when he came to the combine, 5'9", 170, ran a 4.48, that size and speed doesn't really pop. So his athleticism score really isn't there, but his skill set's there. He's a very good football player. And if you could put him in the slot between those 2 twin towers, I think he could feast for sure. So I'm high on Pittman and I'm high on Downs as a late round guy.
I think Pittman's the value here. People really got burned by him overdrafting last year, so we fell in drafts quite a bit. like I said, this year he's falling way, what'd you say, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. The other thing I've also heard is a lot of people are saying, Jonathan Taylor's going to get a ton of carries. Anthony Richardson runs the ball. So everyone's just saying, oh, screw it. They're just going to run, but they can't run every play. The ball's got to get thrown at some point, and Pittman's the one it's going to. So give me Pittman in the 6th round all day if he stays there. I love it.
And look at the landscape of the division. I mean, the Jaguars have an up-and-coming offense. The Texans, after taking Stroud, we're hoping that they can bolster their offense and start get going. And then, the Tennessee Titans, they're kind of a dumpster fire in terms of their roster right now. Yes. But they took Levis. They got Treylon Burks. They're trying to turn the ship in more of a offensive-minded squad. So I think in a year or so, maybe 2 at the most, we're looking at the AFC South as a bit of a good offensive division.
Exciting.
Yeah, and then we're talking about teams, 2 indoor teams, 1 Florida team. The weather will be there for their divisional matchups for most of the season. So I do think that it's going to be wheels up for a lot of these offenses in terms of their matchups against one another.
All right. Pierce, you said Downs over Pierce?
Downs over Pierce, yeah. I didn't love Pierce last year coming into the draft. He got that 2nd-round draft capital because he really performed at the Senior Bowl, left early because the scouts told him, listen, buddy, take it off. You look good. You're going to be good to go. But in terms of how, just sit down, relax. But, in his rookie season, he had under 600 yards receiving. And I just think that in terms of how this offense is built, you're going to have to get Taylor a ton of touches. Pittman's going to get his. Downs is going to be those easy over-the-middle targets that rookie quarterbacks love to gravitate towards. So I just don't think there's enough of the proverbial pie to go around Alec Pierce.
All right, let's see how much thinner we can stretch that pie to the tight end room here. We've got Jelani Woods and Mo Alley Cox. They love their gigantor tight ends here. Mo Alley Cox seemed to be the guy. Then they bring in Jelani Woods last year. I didn't like his production profile wasn't really there. Didn't have the background. The capital wasn't great. But in tight ends, that athleticism and that size gives you a shot. And he didn't have half a bad rookie season. I kind of worry that these two are just going to cannibalize each other and they're going to do tight end by committee, and neither of them is going to be trustworthy. But I'd really love Jelani Woods to have a shot here of just being the guy and get the hell rid of Mo Alley Cox. But what do you think?
So in terms of the tight end, none of these guys stick out to me as somebody that I can roster with confidence. If you want to take a shot on, Jelani Woods late, his ADP is not really going to cost you a whole lot. I'm okay with that because that tight end in fantasy, right? We're talking about touchdowns. At the end of the day, if you're not, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, one of these top end elite guys, all we give a shit about is some touchdowns. And Jelani Woods, 6'7", 250, runs a 4.6. He is the premium red zone target. But then you go ahead and look, and Mo Alley Cox is a big dude himself. Yeah. And then you look, they also took Will Mallory, a hyper athletic tight end, in the 5th round. I think that they're looking to just kind of see who's the hot hand at this position. So I'm not really excited about one individual. I will take a shot on Jelani Woods in best ball because I think those 2 touchdown weeks will come given his size in the red zone. And I mean, think of this. You have the Indianapolis Colts. They're 2nd and 5, on the 11. They're right outside of the goal to go situation. You got to stop Anthony Richardson. He's scrambling around, stiff-arming linebackers, throwing defensive ends in the 1st round of the bleachers, saying, get the fuck off me. And there's 6'7" Jelani Woods right there for a jump ball. So I do think he will have his opportunities for touchdowns. But in your seasonal leagues where you need, your seasonal lineup leagues, I'll roster Jelani, but I'm not excited about it.
No, can't trust him at all. All right, I know it's a little early for redraft ADP, so I'm going off of basically underdog best ball ADP. Mm-hmm. That's normally a pretty good indicator for later in the season. Based on that and where you think they eventually will land, is there someone on this roster you think you're going to target and have on a lot of your teams?
It was Anthony Richardson. I loved Anthony Richardson as my 2nd quarterback, but now he's crept up. I think he's quarterback 11. It's too early because at the end of the day, if all of a sudden they decide we're going to give him a month, now you're using you basically burned a roster spot for a month. I don't know how much I love him in my best ball formats. I've kind of started to stay away from him as his ADP began to climb. But someone I am targeting is Jonathan Taylor. As the industry as a whole converts to 0 RB. It just continues to push back the elite running backs. And routinely, I'm just seeing Jonathan Taylor there at a prime spot to get him either at or below ADP at a value. So Jonathan Taylor is probably the guy in this offense that I have been targeting, but Michael Pittman as well. Like we said, but the ADP correction is really more of a yearly thing from last year to this year, as opposed to right here, right now. So as his, all it's going to take is a handful of plays in basketball shorts where Anthony Richardson's chucking it to Michael Pittman. It's going to go through the roof, and then he is no longer the value that I like now. So I think over the longevity of the offseason in terms of best ball drafts, it's going to be Taylor's my target.
Richardson yesterday, 7th round, a single QB startup. That's how high people are on him. I was talking with Dario yesterday on the pod, and he was saying, it's driving everyone up, including Richardson. QB 7 in the draft he did yesterday is going where QB 2-3 used to go. They're pushing all the QBs up, and Richardson's been going like he's going in that range of, he was saying, with Dak, Tua, and just behind Lawrence. So the hype on Anthony Richardson is fucking real, and he's getting a little too rich for my blood. I will own some shares of Taylor where he slips there. Pittman, like I said, is the guy I'm looking for. He's still there in the 6th round as my wide receiver 3 or 4. I'm going to have a ton of him this year, so I hope he hits. All right, the opposite here. Who's someone you think you want to avoid based on their cost?
His cost isn't really that great, but again, I'm avoiding Alec Pierce.
Yeah.
He's not really going in a range in which you have to really reach for him or necessarily take him over good players. I just think you're looking at a pointless draft pick. I think you're just going to be rostering someone who's going to be surpassed in terms of the target landscape. So I've just really been avoiding Alec Pierce. Now, but the problem with this offense, or I should say the positive of this offense, is it's really consolidated down to a handful of players. We're not really looking at a target share that's going to be broken up between 4 or 5 guys. We're looking at possibly 2, maybe 3 in terms of the target share. So the target consolidation is there. So it's tough to truly fade somebody. But even as a long shot, that dark horse late round guy, I'm still just staying away from Pierce. I haven't really got Pierce in Dynasty, best ball. When redraft comes around, I'm staying away. He's going to be somebody that I'm going to be confidently passing on because I think that, like I said, Josh Downs will supplant him in the target hierarchy.
Yeah. I have quite a few shares of Richardson in Dynasty. Voice is going. In redraft, though, I think
you've been doing a lot of these today or something. Have you been doing these all day or something?
One or two. I think we're 14 hours in. 14 hours in. But yeah, Richardson, he's a little too rich for my blood. Like he's a rookie, and it could be a good offense, but it's not much right now. And I've got to take him in the range where I'm getting Tua or Dak. Just give me Dak. I'll take the safety there. So, all right. Dead last in the AFC last year. Where do you see them finishing in the division this year?
Probably second in the division. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tip my cap to the Jacksonville Jaguars. They're doing the right things. They have the best quarterback in the division. They keep building properly. They did have a subpar draft. I will say that their 2023 draft was booty. It was not good. I was not excited about it. But again, they still got the quarterback. They got the offense and their defense. There's the number 1 overall pick from a year ago still on that team. A handful of good players are still on that side of the ball. So I do think that they are still the kings of the AFC South. The Titans, they're dog water. They're not going to be good this year. And the Texans, they're facing an uphill battle. Yeah, they got a great quarterback at number 2, but again, there's a lot of red flags around C.J. Stroud. Can he do it without the likes of Marvin Harrison Jr., Emeka Egbuka, and Jackson Smith-Njigba? I mean, think about the receivers that he's played with. It's insanity. So we don't know if the Texans are going to be any better than they were a year ago. So I'm going to put them at second because I love the coaching. I think they had a fantastic draft, in my opinion. The Colts had the best draft in the entire league a few weeks ago. So I'm going to go with second. And they will have a chance to fight for a wild card. I think ultimately they don't make the playoffs, but I think you see some very encouraging signs from this team.
That Texans roster, I was looking at, they were 3rd or 4th on my list of teams today. If you assume Robert Woods isn't going to have much of a role in that offense, the high man in seniority is Dameon Pierce. Yeah, it's a whole, forget a team with a rookie quarterback. It's a team with a rookie every skilled position. Just the whole fucking team is rookies. So
And then you look at the contract they gave Robert Woods. They're giving him 10. He's getting Odell Beckham Jr. money this year.
Jesus Christ.
You know, I would imagine that they have him in the building to
mentor,
to be on the field. But if Robert Woods is your top pass catcher for a rookie quarterback that has grown accustomed to Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, and everyone I just named 2 minutes ago, he's going to have a real cold splash of water thrown in his face come the season.
Could be an exciting division in a few years, but 2023 is not the exciting year for the for the Texans.
AFC South, aka Growing Pain City.
Yeah, 4 wins last year, over, under, or the same this year. What's your call?
Over. I think they got over 4. I think they will be close to 500. Not necessarily 500. I think that given the fact that they have a rookie quarterback that is so raw, and I do think he starts right away, there will be some ugly losses. But I think that his capabilities in this team will get them some quality wins, some wins that maybe people didn't expect. They'll probably be a team that truly pisses off a lot that play in your survivor pools as you pick them to lose against, a stud team and they come out and show out and play well. God. But I do think they go over 4 wins.
Well, they're going to get 4 just against the Texans and Titans alone. So
yeah, right.
The chances right there. Exactly. Now they just got to squeak one out. All right, Matty, thanks for joining me. You want to take a second here, tell everyone where they can find your work?
Absolutely. You can find me over at playerprofiler.com. My articles there, my podcast there. Find me on Twitter at Matty Kiwoom. Got the game plan each and every Saturday. Trade Gods with my man Jason Allwine on Thursdays. And I got a Patreon, The Executives, with Cody Carpentier. Him and I linked up to do our own Patreon. So if you like Cody Carpentier's work, my work, go ahead and subscribe to our Patreon, The Executives. We got a whole bunch of stuff. We just put out our revised top 100 cornerstone rankings. So we got the 2022 class, 2023 class, and the 2024 class ranked out for you guys. So check that out.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, Matty. You rock, man.
You rock.
Thank you. All right, guys. This has been my thoughts on the Indianapolis Colts with Matty Kiwoom, one half of the tag team champions. Yeah. Once again, I am Aaron St. Dennis, the FF Mad Scientist. This has been the Mad Science Lab podcast. Thank you, Matty, and thanks everyone for watching. Have a good night.